if you think Colin Farrell, you don't think comedy actor. You think leading man, maybe gangster, something with guns.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's a comedian.
He's like a chameleon comedian, because when you give him a chance to really transform, he
Yeah.
can get away from himself.
But I do like the fact that all these comedy roles, he's not being funny. He is deadpan.
Rage Whale.
Today's episode is the start of a new format called Deep Dive. In these episodes, we will be picking an actor or a director or a genre or anything else and talking about it in detail. Today is our first episode. We hope you enjoy. This is the Deep Dive of Colin Farrell. Enjoy. Welcome, guys. This is a new episode we're trying out, a new style. You've seen all our guests coming and going. That's a focus. We're going to try hard to keep bringing you new and exciting guests. We do the spoiler special review episodes now. We've done, I think, 11 or 12 of those, and we're going to keep those going. Focus on specific films. This section now is our deep dive section. So this is a new series of episodes where we're going to go and deep dive into the careers and personal lives of individuals in the movie industry. So we're going to talk about actors or directors or writers, even specific years, and go into detail on those specific things or genres, etc. Today's, I'll let Drew tell you guys who we're going to do. But Drew, who are we talking about today?
We're talking about the wonderfully talented Irish actor, Mr. Colin Farrell.
Oh, yeah. But you'd have known that because I would have said that on the episode that you clicked on, so no surprise. But
oh, we should mix it up to do about something different.
Yeah, just kid everyone on. So, basic couple of headlines about Colin Farrell. He was born in 1967. He's 48 years of age, and he's an Irish gentleman. And I think we'll all agree he's had a varied career and varied style of
Wait,
career.
stop. What did you just say?
He's had
When
a
was he
varied
born?
career. 76.
Oh, I thought you said 60-something.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So
I think even Colin Farrell, if he was in with us in Rage right now, he'd agree that he's had a varied career, because there was a couple of moments where he says about how lucky things have gone based on the reactions to certain choices of film that didn't necessarily go so well, and has actually made him question whether or not to continue in places. Because I think the brutality of reviews, and not just from the general public, but also from reputable companies and magazines and stuff like that, saying certain things about a performance, and he's saying how it can really damage you as an artist. Do you know what I mean? Because you might get 20 great ones, and then you're always fixating on that one negative one that could really just like become like a splinter in your mind. So
yeah, I think we mentioned before when we were speaking previously as well as that he's had the sort of benefit and the curse of being a pretty boy, in the sense that he's been put into a lot of roles because he's an attractive guy, and it's not always panned out. He thinks he's hot shit because he's playing an attractive role in a lead role, and he went to excess. Like, reading up about him for this episode, the main headlines, first let's talk about his personal life before we go into his films a little bit first.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
And I think the headlines that I saw is that it was quite shocking, in fact, because he said that in 2013 he revealed that he suffers from insomnia, and he's suffered from occasional bouts of depression and dark thoughts.
Wow.
And as I think we all know, because it was quite well documented, is he did have drug addiction in his early years. I think he's been sober since 2005. after going to rehab and everything. So he's, people fall off the rails. Imagine being a millionaire overnight, doing all this crazy shit in LA. You're going to go a bit nuts, especially in the 90s and early 90s.
I would now.
Well, he was. They called him Hollywood bad boy, Colin Farrell. That was pretty much a lot of the stuff in the papers, that he was a bit of a potential womanizer and a heavy drinker. And you can even see now, if you go on YouTube and look at some of the interviews, he's actually drinking beer in interviews and smoking cigarettes while he's talking to people. So you think about now, when you look at interviews and people, actors are normally there, like all looking all quite smart and whatever, and being very interactive. And you see him and he's just using it like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, and it's like, it was so, but I think that was just a means to deal with certain things. Like you said, the overnight success and the kind of actors he was working with. He says he couldn't almost get to grips, like the fact that he's worked with like Al Pacino in The Recruit. You've got
Brad Pitt, early doors.
Brad Pitt, yeah. You got Bruce Willis in Heart's War. You got some seriously like A gamers like Samuel L. Jackson in SWAT. Like you've got so many big players that he was working with, and even Denzel Washington in Rome. I can't remember the name of the lawyer one.
Roman J. Israel.
Roman J. Israel, man. Boom, 10 points to James. Yeah, flipping heck, Tom Cruise, man. Minority Report. A Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah.
But I think, well, here's a crazy one as well. Ordinary Decent Criminal, which is one that was in 2000 that kind of went under the radar, that not a lot of people knew about. And that had Spacey in it. And originally, it didn't even have Colin Farrell's name on the poster until he became a known name. And then that's how they'd kind of pitch Ordinary Decent Criminal. And you've got Spacey was actually doing a kind of an Irish accent in it. And they're playing like there's some thieves that are kind of going around doing like bank jobs. And it was Spacey that was like, I want Colin Farrell to play this part, basically.
Well, again, going to his personal life before we go in deep on the films and stuff, did you hear they had he had a sex tape out?
What?
Yes, I did know about that.
Yeah, 2016 is American model Nicole Narain was threatened to put a 13-minute sex tape out. Can't have been that good. 13
minutes. Do you not think this, though? Do you think as a bloke he's probably not as bothered as if it was the other way around?
No, he was offered £5 million for its rights, and it was the Internet Commerce Group had tried to release it officially, like as an actual, not just leak onto the internet, like
could have got an Oscar
to make money from it. But they reached a confidential settlement, and Colin Farrell's lawsuit against ICG continued with a trial date of 2006 and was eventually settled amicably.
I would have taken the $5 million.
I just think, though, that you don't know what's going on in those situations, though. Do you know what I mean? And like, if anything was misconstrued, if that did come out, it gives off a very...
But yeah, 13 minutes. I mean, that's probably why he didn't want it coming out. It's not good.
It revealed a lot of...
if it was an hour and 13 minutes, he'd have been like, yeah, show everyone.
It's a feature film, dude. It's a feature film.
Take a look at that, Hollywood. But 13 minutes is probably embarrassing.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Just a reminder to say we love and appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, as this really helps us continue to progress and improve the content and keeps us making these fun episodes for you guys. Oh, we're also on these things called Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us there too, as we share short, funny reels on the reg that you can share with friends if you like. Now, back to the mayhem.
But I think on the positive side as well, like Colin Farrell was involved with so many different charities. He was involved with things like the Special Olympics, anti-bullying, Irish LGBT. He actually organised things for them.
But that's such a specific group, isn't it?
Well, no, his brother's gay and he's in Ireland. that's the only that's the reason.
Right.
Homelessness World Cup, which sounds a bit weird, but it was like, you know, football for people living on the streets.
That would have been so much better if it was home. They had to make teams with homeless people.
Did you see though, when there was an interview, and this was quite recently, this was after lockdown, Colin Farrell was being interviewed. I don't know if it was Jonathan Ross or it was some TV thing, and he properly broke down when he started talking about homeless people. And he said till this day, he's like, I cannot believe, because when he was walking to go to this interview somewhere in London, he's like, the amount of homeless people, he said, it's absolutely insane.
Well, he works in LA as well. Think how many homeless people are there. It's basically a homeless shelter, giant homeless shelter, LA.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, the idea that
Hollywood.
He's incredibly grateful and I'd say a very humble actor. Actually, you never see him kind of like splashing his wealth.
Never has any bad press, has he?
And actually,
Not
guys,
now,
talking about amazing things he did, let's not forget when Heath Ledger sadly passed away. Himself, it was Jude Law and Johnny Depp. They all played variations of the character that Heath Ledger was playing in Dr.
Parnassus.
Yeah. And then more than that, they all agreed that the money that they'd make for it would go into a fund for Heath Ledger's daughter.
Was that film any good? It kind of like
it was.
Great, man.
It was.
And it had Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield was playing Heath Ledger's sidekick.
Yeah, it's proper strange, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I remember that. It's not a film you'd watch twice, but it was a good film.
I mean, strange is in the title. I think it is actually.
I mean, that's going through Colin Farrell's like filmography from 2000 onwards, like your early days, you're In Bruges, your Daredevil.
Let's not get into the films yet because we're still in his personal life, and then we'll go to the last one I want to bring up, and then we can talk about In Bruges because James hit a point that is, I think, his best film. But Colin Farrell, he's done his own Colin Farrell Foundation.
Yeah.
For Angelman syndrome, which his son has.
Yeah, James.
What's that?
It's a mental disability where they're below the average intelligence. That sometimes they have a slightly smaller head as well. But it's got loads of different syndromes, but it's basically mental disability. So it's got the mental age of a young person, even though he's like a teenager type thing.
But it also looks like, sadly, it affects their body as well.
Yeah.
Because it stops them being able to function, like have actual functioning abilities. Like,
I can give you the diagnosis of the actual symptoms if you like. It's delayed development, unusually happy. That's a strange symptom. Intellectual disability, limited to no function, speech, balance, and movement problems, small head, and seizures. So yeah, it's quite catastrophic because he said he didn't want to do anything unless.
The happy bit.
Well, apart from the happy bit, but I don't think that's actual happiness. That's just it looks like happiness because it's probably the way they react to things. So it's pretty horrible. Because I heard him do like an interview on TV about it. And it was quite emotional.
It was a really powerful moment because he said like the idea of bringing a film crew into his actual home and for them to interview him and see his family and especially his boy James. But what I loved about when he was talking about that in an interview that he said, I asked James first because they were like, oh, well, you know, did you just kind of decide to do this? He's like, well, no, of course I ran it by James first. You know, I'm always talking to James and even if he can't always, you know, answer back, I get some sense of if he feels comfortable or not. And then we can do this together. And he was saying being able to have this kind of status that I have as an artist, I want to bring awareness to this particular illness and and create a charity. And he does amazing things now. Man, look, I mean, you think about turning around from being an alcoholic that gets in trouble and, you know, a bit of a womanizer and all these different kind of negative things. But now, like when you see him, he does yoga, he does meditation, he talks about mindfulness. He's the most kind of poetically sound person when you see him in interviews. The way that he can kind of just craft words and they're so beautifully pieced together. Like he could, I wouldn't be surprised if he writes poetry probably in his spare time. He might not talk about it, but he is an absolute poet and a wordsmith, like in his everyday life.
I think it'd be good to have. Well, I was going to say it'd be good to have a beer with him, but I don't think he drinks at all. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, or a non-alcoholic beer. Non-alcoholic beers are pretty
He'd be, yeah, it'd be good to hang out with. He seems like a fun guy. But to go to James's point then, so his early career is classed as 1998 to 2003, starting with Ballykiss Angel.
Yeah, which is mad, right? Yeah.
Did anyone watch that when they were a kid?
I remember it, yeah.
Yeah.
Daredevil must have been one of his first films.
Well, dude, can I do a real cheeky nod to? I was actually on stage with what's his name in that. God damn it, Stephen Tompkinson.
Oh yeah.
So when I did a play at the Royal Exchange Theatre, The Revenger's Tragedy, Stephen Tompkinson was the lead, and he's the most loveliest man. Like on the opening night, he got everyone a rose, and we all did a big kind of like cheers, and like he was an amazing leading man, and he really led from the front. But yeah, that's just a crazy link to Ballykiss Angel.
No, nice. I mean, before Daredevil, because he wasn't a big part in Daredevil.
Well, he was Bullseye though, wasn't he? He was too memorable.
Yeah.
So before
Terrible
that,
movie though, unfortunately.
so before that was two of his two of his biggest films almost. Well, I don't know what I mean by that, but
Phone booth.
best films, because there's a bunch of films which
Phone Booth wasn't until much later.
no, it's not. It wasn't.
2008.
Nope,
2002.
early. 2002 was first.
Oh wow.
You did a bunch of crap, or not crap, but Ordinary Decent Criminal, never heard of. Tigerland,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of, except Drew mentioning it. American Outlaws, never heard of. Hearts War, Bruce Willis,
Yeah.
heard of, never watched. It doesn't look exciting, but Minority Report and Phone Booth were both 2002.
Yeah.
That's a good start to your
Well,
career.
this is what's interesting, though. Actually, a quick story to link those two moments. So, Tigerland was by Joel Schumacher, directed by Joel Schumacher,
Yeah.
and this was like the biggest role for Colin Farrell at that point up until his career, because he was playing one of the leads in it. And actually, if you watch his audition tape for Tigerland, he's absolutely amazing in it. But then, so Joel Schumacher. They gave loads of big names to Joel Schumacher for Phone Booth, but he really wanted Colin Farrell, and the producers and all the kind of like big wigs were like, nah, he's not big enough. We need a big name to carry this film. And then it wasn't until Minority Report came out when they saw him go toe to toe with Tom Cruise. And some may even say that his character is actually a little bit more interesting than the character that Tom Cruise plays, because he does such a good role with something in such a small amount of time on screen, that they went, do you know what? He's actually really good in Minority Report. Boom. They gave him Phone Booth.
And Phone Booth is incredible. I think
Phone Booth, man.
We've mentioned it before. Me and Drew have mentioned it a million times, but me and Drew rented that film on VHS. Was it VHS or DVD? I can't remember.
Might have been VHS early 2000s, yeah.
Blockbuster as well.
Yeah, from Blockbusters in Andover, Hampshire. And I think it was at your house. We watched Phone Booth. I don't know what we did, if we got pizza or whatever, but we watched it and we loved it so much. As soon as it finished, we rewound and pressed play again. And
so you two Blockbusters and chilled?
Yeah, Blockbusters and chilled.
Yeah, together.
Maybe it was Video Solent. Remember that one up in Andover?
Solent. Yeah.
But I hope it was a DVD. I can't.
Early 2000s, possibly not, because I remember even
my first DVD player was 2001, and I got
Gladiator 2002. DVD. They were still quite new and expensive, weren't they?
Dude, I think it was DVD. I do remember it being DVD.
I got my first DVD player in 2001 because that's when Gladiator came out, and it came free with my DVD player.
Yeah, it was definitely DVD, and then
but Blockbusters would have had options. You would have had videos and DVDs in the same place. You'd have had to be able to pick back then. I bet they're doubled up.
True.
Should always double up in Andover.
But with Phone Booth, it was so good. We got it as VHS and we watched it as DVD as well. So it was just to get both.
Got to get in track lines.
The best of both worlds. And then he did The Recruit with Al Pacino, which I really like that film. I think that film.
Did you do that on Betamax?
I think that film is so good. I always keep going, handy the cookie jar, which is what Al Pacino says, but there's some great lines in The Recruit.
Yeah, I think there's just he's done such a mix because there's a bunch of films of hard.
There's definitely hits and misses. If I'm honest, I think he's better in independent films than he is in big blockbuster ones, and I think he'd probably agree with that as well. Like, so SWAT, he's great, but the script wasn't that great, and there's not much character development. And he even said that in an interview.
But the film, though.
Intermission, though, come on, man, Intermission. If you've seen that with Cillian Murphy, oh God, what's his name? The other Irish dude,
Michael Flatley.
No, Colin. It's Kelly MacDonald, Shirley Henderson, Cillian Murphy, obviously Colin Farrell. Oh shit, it's got Kerry Condon in it as well from Banshees of Inisherin. Something Colm. Oh, Cole Meany, that's it. Cole Meany, who's in Layer Cake as well. Like, he's normally playing gangsters.
Oh, okay. Oh, him. Yeah, he's great.
Mate, if you guys get a chance to see Intermission, that is a fantastic film. Like, it's
I just remember Cole Meany from Con Air, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, the suit in there. But none of these films are ones I remember. I just remember that Alexander to that 2004.
And A Home at the End of the World. A Home at the End of the World with Robin Wright, when she was actually Robin Wright Penn, I think. But A Home at the End of the World, that was a great film, and that went under the radar.
Oh my God, that is the worst I've ever seen Colin Farrell look.
What's that? In A Home at the End of the World.
Oh, where's the photo went? There's quite a bad one. Looks like James in those early days, wearing
I think it's just some of the stuff he's wearing, but that's a really powerful film. It's a really heartfelt film, Home at the End of the World.
Oh, Peter Dinklage.
And he plays a guy that's kind of torn between. I think you get the sense that it's kind of like a love triangle.
Well, not the only film he accompanies a midget in, is it?
Dwarf.
Whatever.
No, Dwarf. You're getting told off from now on. Dwarf.
And he's in an episode of Scrubs, which is amazing. But I must admit, like we were saying, I think sometimes he has hits and sometimes he has misses in his career. Like I think after Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx, I think after that, which was a Michael Mann film, that's when you were talking about he was really he needed to go to rehab after that because there was a lot of stuff going on. But mate, Cassandra's Dream, this is where his career is very questionable. You've got, it's a, oh God, what is the director, the writer? It's a Woody Allen film, right? And you've got two London gangster brothers, essentially, right? And you've got Ewan McGregor, who's Scottish from Edinburgh, and then you've got Colin Farrell, who's Irish, and they're playing two London brothers. If you watch the trailer for Cassandra's Dream, I swear to God, it could have ended Ewan McGregor's and Colin Farrell's career. But luckily it didn't, because, they are great actors and they rose above it. And interestingly, like what Kevin said, In Bruges, I actually think relit Colin Farrell's career. And he is so good in that film.
Well, I say there's 6 years of nothing interesting as far as I'm concerned. It was Phone Booth, then In Bruges.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that if you get a chance to look at the trailer for Cassandra's Dream, you'd be like, "What?" Their Cockney accents were so questionable.
Yeah, that's 11 films between those two, and they're the only two that, I mean, they might be good. I might be being a bit harsh, but...
And then the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnathrus, which we talked about.
I think we should stop on Bruges, because In Bruges is one of the headline films, as far as I'm concerned, of like four. If you would pick 3 or 4 films from Colin Farrell, In Bruges would be number 1 or number 2.
100%. 100%. I still think Phone Booth will be, because you'll never get another Phone Booth film like that. You'll never get another film like that.
We'll never get another Phone Booth, let alone another Phone Booth film.
Yeah, fair enough, especially in this world. But I think that's what adds the element to it, though, because in the film, because I was watching Phone Booth the other day, is talking about the fact that it's getting taken down. So it's the idea that phone booths are being demolished. So the irony is that is the final one. This is the last phone booth that is going to be demolished because everything is becoming mobile phones, which is like the crazy world we're in now where everyone's just scrolling and, so yeah, it adds another poignancy to phone booth when you watch it now, the fact that there is no phone booths.
But like I watched in Bruges. When was the last time you guys watched in Bruges?
When I watched it with you.
That's a regular one, man. That's on the reg. I watched that so many times. I watched it a couple of weeks ago.
You watched it with me?
Yeah, at your house when we first watched it.
I can't remember that. In Andover. Yeah, of course.
Probably 2004.
Well, it came out in 2008, so that'd be quite a miracle.
Well, probably around 2008
then. Yeah, but that film, like you said, it's. I think the non-PC stuff in that is fine because Colin Farrell is playing an idiot. Colin Farrell's playing someone who is rude, doesn't respect anyone, maybe slightly misogynistic, definitely a little bit racist. And he's so when he calls the dwarf a midget, it's in my memory that was just what it was called all the time. But he says midget, and the woman basically gives him a slap and says he prefers to be called a dwarf, and he's like, "Oh, all right." And then he accepts it, and he goes, "Oh, all right," and then carries on. Well, it's not a big deal for him.
But it also works in the script because you've got Brendan Gleeson's character that's obviously written by the same, Martin McDonagh. He says dwarf, so he says the correct thing, which tells you more about his character. And yeah, like you said, tells you about Ray's character. But he says 2 manky prostitutes and a racist dwarf. I'm out of here. Which is one of the best lines, which I think they even quoted at the Golden Globes when he won for Best Actor.
I mean, this film's so quotable, but we can't repeat any of them because they're so vile and disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, that one I just did was on point, though, because it was...
Yeah. Well, yours was fine. But yeah, I mean, even today, they'd be called sex workers, not prostitutes. So,
true.
There, someone would query something.
No, actually, it says 2 manky hookers. I think it's hookers and a racist dwarf. I think that's what it is.
So if anyone hasn't know about this film, because it sounds like we're saying some weird shit, it's about 2 hitmen that once they've done a job, they get told to go to Bruges in Brussels to wait next orders. And I don't think we know if it's because we know something bad happened. I won't say what it is, but
it's only because flashbacks are, it's very clever.
Yeah, but we don't know if they've gone to in Bruges specifically to wait out for a next job then things change, or it's deliberately to take them over there so they can do something with someone.
Well, he even says, he goes, "You don't know we're not here on a job in Bruges, on a job in Bruges." It's so good, man.
It's so funny. It's just good. 2 Irish people like arguing with each other for ages, and it is spot on. And it's because Brendan Gleeson is like, he's so happy. He's like, look at the culture. We can go sightseeing, go touring, go for a walk and see all the sights. And Colin Farrell's like, what sights? Only if I'm saying a bad word.
Yeah, I know you're going to say it.
I'd only enjoy this place if I was blah, 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 and a retard. But I'm not. I'm educated. I'm from Dublin. I've seen better places than this. This is a piece of shit. I want to go and get drunk.
Yeah, but then, when he says, don't you love history? He's like, nah, it's just a bunch of stuff that's already happened.
Yeah.
So good.
It's funny. I was surprised how young you looked in this film as well.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. But that duo is brilliant because obviously we'll hold on to that for later on when we talk about his latter stuff, because obviously pairing up with Martin McDonagh was a huge and exciting part of Colin Farrell's career. And he even says that he's very grateful because I think it really put him back on the map, really, especially with that character, Ray.
Oh, and I just clicked on the writer and director, Martin McDonagh.
Yeah, he's amazing.
As we just alluded to, did In Bruges, 7 Psychopaths, 3 Billboards outside of Ebbington.
Yeah, amazing.
Banshee of Sharon, done a bunch of stuff, but he also looks like Stifler. If you had a quick glance, didn't have time to take it in.
He does.
That's crazy, yeah.
Stifler or a German DJ?
Yeah, Stifler with blonde hair or a German DJ.
Stifler disguised as a German DJ.
Yeah. But in Bruges also had Ralph Fiennes in there, and Ralph.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay,
You're an inanimate fucking object.
oh, that was the best bit.
The phone.
Yeah, he's smashing up the phone because he's angry. His wife comes in. What are you doing that to an inanimate object for? You're an inanimate object.
Yeah. Stop smashing that thing. It's a fucking
Oh,
inanimate
there's things I want to say, but they're too
So good.
harsh. But like
So good.
when he's sitting there, when the bad guy Ralph Fiennes comes to Bruges to finish the job, and he's chatting to Brendan Gleeson, and Brendan Gleeson should be scared of him because Ralph Fiennes the boss. And
Oh,
Brendan
yeah.
Gleeson goes, "Fuck you and your C kids," and he goes,
Oh, yeah.
"You take that back. You don't
take
call
that
my
back,
kids
my
a
kids."
bunch of C's." And he goes, "All right, I take it back. They are a bunch of C's, but."
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
He says, "You're a C in hell. You're always going to be a C, and that's not going to change." He's like, yeah. You're probably going to have a couple more C kids. I can have more C kids.
Oh, I'd love to say the word because it doesn't
It
sound
really adds.
aggressive.
But I think how many C words are in that script?
Yeah, there's a decent bunch, definitely double figures.
There's a serious amount of C next Tuesdays in that script.
Brilliant. But then again, Colin Farrell, like we just said, he goes into pits of shit because that was a comedy, and if I look back, he hasn't done a single comedy. That's the first comedy.
But this is, again, like, I feel like when he's given a chance to do stuff, this is what I think, again, the Hollywood didn't give him that chance because they were giving him like Hollywood kind of heartthrob kind of, or like actiony characters. And he's so good with comedy. Mate, he's even really funny in The Penguin. Like his comic timing in The Penguin is so funny.
But that's it because they put him back in action roles again. And I know in Bruges isn't. I mean, it's not an action film. He holds a gun a couple of times, but there's no. And then there's one shootout scene.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it's not really a shootout scene. He jumps through a window, gets shot, and lies bleeding on a boat.
Yeah, that's hardcore, man. That is hardcore. That's because of the dum-dums. You know, he's like, "Do you want some dum-dums?" He's like, "I know I shouldn't."
Yeah, but that's the best bit because it's the dwarf dressed as a child.
Yeah,
and then the dum-dum shoots his head off.
Yeah, it's so clever how it's all connected. That's what I mean. Martin McDonagh's a genius when it comes to
brings it back. But yeah, the next bunch of films are all kind of action films, a love story.
Yeah, but Horrible Bosses, that was another funny one though. He was brilliant in Horrible Bosses.
See, he wasn't.
Have you seen Horrible Bosses?
Oh yes, I remember who he is now. He looks funny, doesn't he? He looks
funny, and he's got the comb over.
I remember him now. Yeah.
He's got a beer belly, and he was so funny in Horrible Bosses. Because at one point he says to the guy, he's like, "Are you supposed to be Charles Xavier or something?" And he says, "No, I'm just a bald dude in a wheelchair." And it's like, he's very. It plays a very kind of harsh character.
He's gone a bit Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's exactly what. Yeah,
that's what made me think of it.
Do you think Tom Cruise? You mean Robert Downey?
Then he did
Tom Cruise
in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tom Cruise when he dresses as Lloyd.
Yeah, with the big hair.
The guy dances.
He dances. But then you got London Boulevard, where he plays like a kind of serious London gangster.
I remember that being really good, but I can't remember anything about it.
But it's not that good. Like I watched
it when it came out, so I think I was younger then. I watched it thinking that was a cool film, and then don't recall anything about it.
I mean, Keira Knightley and Ray Winston.
Yeah, I mean, it's got cool moments in it. Don't get me wrong.
Ray Winston's in it, it's not a good movie.
Oh, that's a bit harsh though, because he's in like Nail by Mouth, and he's in some great stuff. He's in Sexy Beast and Nail by Mouth.
But when were they made?
Yeah, but dude, that's by the by, man. Like, watch Sexy Beast again, and you'll be like, yeah, Ray Winston.
Yeah, but Ray Winston ended up just doing anything and anything.
Yeah, also, Ray Winston's in The Departed as well. So, but that's not Colin Farrell. So, but my point is, again, I think it was brave after Cassandra's Dream. Colin Farrell's not the best at accents, apart from maybe American. He's pretty good at that because of obviously.
He's good at American. He's legit at American.
Pretty good at American. So, yeah.
Like in SWAT, love it or hate it, you would think he was American.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great in SWAT, man. Yeah, but he's brilliant in Phone Booth or Tigerland. Watch him in Tigerland, man. He's amazing in that. Dead Man Down was an interesting one. I don't know if you saw that, where he plays like a kind of hitman and he's trying to.
I like how you deliberately skipped two awful movies there.
Yeah. Well,
side note: in Horrible Bosses, that was probably one of the hottest Jennifer Aniston for me. I was like, that's when John
Oh, yeah.
Benson came back. I was like, Jesus.
I never saw Friday Night though. I heard good
Fright
things.
I was
About
like, get me to the dentist.
no,
Yeah.
it was Fright Night, not Friday Night.
Oh, did I say Friday Night? Yeah, Friday
Fright
Night.
Night is a remake of a vampire classic from the 70s, I think.
Yeah, I remember
And
the
then-
old one. I loved as a kid. That was awesome. But I didn't see the
that's
remake.
terrifying. And then Total Recall, both of those films are awful, blasphemy, shouldn't have been made.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but Total Recall, I think gets, if that was called something different, because it wasn't really a remake, because the actual whole film goes kind of totally different than the original. It's not like a cut-by-cut remake. It is its own, it's more of a,
Well,
it's not a reboot either.
parts of it are in Britain, so it is different.
Yeah, it's a redo. Like, it's not like when they
But
remade
it's unnecessary.
Freddy
It's
Krueger, it's the
rubbish.
same story.
feel
Yeah,
like
they cheaped out. What they did is they made a sci-fi film and piggybacked off something that they shouldn't have.
If you
They
make
could have just made
something,
their own
if
sci-fi
you
film.
call it Total Recall, it needs to have big budget. It needs to be mental, but it wasn't. I mean, Kate Beckinsale was fantastic.
It was a so-so sci-fi film that they didn't need to piggyback off the name
Yeah.
to build
that's
unnecessary hype.
That's where they went wrong. I mean, yeah, you could have called it Can't Recall, which might have been
Or anything. Like Minority Report. Like, just call it something different.
That's already been done as well, though. But
again, that the next film, Seven Psychopaths, that's going back to comedy. And if you look back, what we just mentioned in Bruges, the next one of note, even though it's not an amazing film,
it's still funny though.
The next one you mentioned that was decent was Horrible Bosses, comedy.
Yeah.
Seven Psychopaths, comedy.
I will say one thing. Looking through Colin Farrell's body of work, he's one of the most famous actors that hasn't actually done that many really good films.
Well, that's the point we're making.
Which is mental, isn't it? Yeah.
There's like 3 films that we've liked in the last 20 in a row.
The Lobster, again, but like you said, comedy. But this is my point. When he's given a great script, great director, he absolutely just elevates. Like he's untouchable.
I think The Lobster is a genius film because you watch it for the first time and no one really knows what's going on.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a weird one. It really takes a while, and obviously that's got Barry Keoghan. That's when he was first discovered.
Oh, wow!
So it was an important film.
Loads of people, yeah. It's got Rachel Weisz. It's got Ben Whishaw, like Olivia Colman, like loads of people.
But that's the
like loads of.
Because that's the thing that people can't understand because it's such a weird film. It wasn't normal. It's like you go to a hotel if you're single, and you have to find love within a certain amount of time, and if you don't, you've got to pick an animal, and then you become that animal. So he'd become a lobster if he doesn't find love in a certain time frame.
Why would you choose that animal? Choose a cat. They have like the best. They just chill around.
I think Barry Keoghan's like an evil person that's trying to make sure he breaks people up or something along those lines.
He's always kind of like that. Then you got True Detective, which was a really interesting move.
Oh, amazing.
Because obviously, off the back of season 1 with Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson, Michelle Monaghan.
Well, it never was beaten for me, but a very close runner-up.
Nick Pazialto, and then you've got and then season 2 was Colin Farrell. Gosh, what's her name? Rachel. Oh God, I can't remember her name now.
Don't say Vice.
No, it's not right. No, it's the one from The Notebook. Can't remember now, but and then you've got like Vince Vaughn and but
what's the name?
It wasn't as well received. But again, I watched it the other day, and I think Colin Farrell does a great job with the kind of.
He's amazing. Amazing. The problem is, it goes back to that whole thing. The first series was so good, not just because of the actors, because the storyline was epic. Yeah. The second one was good, but that first one was like a slam dunk.
But here's an interesting jump as well.
Rachel McAdams is who you're on about.
Rachel McAdams, yeah.
Rachel McAdams, yeah. When we were talking about 7 in one of our other episodes, and we were talking about spoilers, and we talked about the sequel to 7, which was called Solace.
Yeah.
That had Anthony Hopkins, and Colin Farrell was playing the serial killer who can read minds or something. And again, unfortunately, it was not a good. And I don't know if it was written by Andrew Kevin Walken.
But it was written as the sequel, and it was going to be Silence of the Lambs 2.
And also, Colin Farrell never really plays a bad guy, does he?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he has in this one.
We're not going to count that, but
actually, saying that, the one time he did play a kind of bad guy and jumped into a franchise, was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which I thought
never
was
saw that.
actually
Was that the Harry Potter spin-off?
yeah, but he was really good as the villain. Yeah,
I never saw it, so I can't really. Wasn't
I watched the first
Eddie
one.
Redmayne in that as well?
that's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one, Kev. I
I'm
thought
really
Colin Farrell was great.
unimpressed.
I've never seen it.
It wasn't for children and it wasn't for adults. It was too childish to be for me, and it was probably too grown up to be for kids.
Dark kids, yeah.
It
It's
did.
like, what
It
are we
just
getting in this.
Was
yeah,
it one of the films that was
rubbish.
like worth a shot and didn't really work out?
But then we go to Yorgos Lanthimos again,
Killing
in
of
the
a
Killing of a
Sacred
Sacred Deer with Barry Keoghan
Deer.
again.
Yeah, but Barry and Colin are just hanging out together at this time. Yeah, do you know what I mean? They're just.
But that's
Well,
it.
did you not know that Colin Farrell played the sperm in Saltburn? So
So yeah, so Yorgos Lanthimos started off with that movie. That was his first movie, The Lobster, the first big movie.
Oh
Then
wow!
go to Killing a Sacred Deer, and then obviously he's now, doing amazing work with other stuff as well. Even though the last one I didn't particularly like, but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, The Killing of a Sacred Deer is such a strange film because I really at first didn't enjoy it. I'll probably have to rewatch it, but it's the idea that it's like a dark, dark, dark comedy because you kind of don't. It feels too dark to be a comedy, but it's supposed to be a comedy. Then did you see Widows by Steve McQueen that did Shame?
no.
by the Steve McQueen.
Yeah. So
Was it Great Escape?
This is crazy. Like, this has Cynthia Erivo, like Viola Davis, Liam Neeson, like Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki.
It sounded like such a good cast. Who said Michelle Rodriguez? Bet she plays like someone that's hard beating people
But then
up.
you've got Colin Farrell playing a corrupt mayor.
Does it say what Michelle Rodriguez is playing? She's also in SWAT with him as well, by the way.
Oh no, there's a million stuff because Daniel Kaluuya's in here as well.
Oh, no, but look, Widows. Seriously, when I saw this, I was chatting to my mate, and I was like,
That
"Colin,
looks quite cool. I've never heard of that.
It's cool, man." Colin Farrell seriously upped his game, though. Like, he plays. Yeah, you wouldn't recognize him. Like, he's
Is that a
really
movie or a show?
Film.
It's a movie.
When's it from? I've never even heard of that.
2018.
Oh, dude, Widows is amazing. It's these women become like they take over from their husbands who are doing a heist, and because they lose all the money that they need in order to obviously sustain the lives they want, they decide they go, well, we're going to continue and we'll do the heist anyway.
So Michelle Rodriguez is playing a butch, like again.
But it's amazing. But we're here to talk about Colin Farrell. And Colin Farrell's performance in that as the corrupt mayor, it's like nothing you've ever seen him do.
Might
Like,
give that a watch then. Sounds good.
it's really good. Have you seen it, Kev?
I recognize it. I think I have. It doesn't. Maybe I didn't. I've seen. There's another film that's exactly the same plot that came out like 2020.
Yeah, I'm sure there probably is. But
Where
again,
it's all mob bosses' wives because all the mob bosses have been put in prison.
there was a TV series about it as well. But then you got Dumbo, which I thought was really well done.
Was it good?
I really enjoyed it.
That's the most hated film ever of
No,
any.
man, it's full. But I thought it was interesting. You got
Tim Burton fucked it.
Is
Like,
he
everyone said it
himself
was
as a
worse.
human or is he a character?
So you got Colin Farrell, who's with Danny DeVito, and I thought it's mad that they're hanging out together, right, on set, and then he then becomes the Penguin, which I thought was a cool little.
Well, yeah,
moment.
and Michael Keaton, the Batman's in it as well.
Oh yeah, as the bat. Yeah. But again, then you've kind of got then he doesn't do stuff for. No, actually, that's not true.
The next one's the most interesting one.
Amazing. The Gentleman.
Yeah, The Gentleman.
Yeah. Again, though,
phenomenal
comedy. And I'd actually say that Colin Farrell almost steals this film in the scenes he's in. He's the most memorable.
Yeah.
That movie is one of my favourite movies of the last, at least decade. It's so good.
Everyone's got great lines, but yeah, Colin Farrell is the coach. He's when he's like
in the chip shop.
In the chip shop.
He's like, does it smell of piss? It's like, you got your mouthwash mixed up with cat piss or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Like, take 2 steps back and wait your turn.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'll wet you. He's like, the only thing you're going to wet is your pants. he's like, go on, stab me then. Don't dance. Or he's like, oh, what was it he says? He makes some Marvin Gaye and whatever things, doesn't he? He like calls them the whatever he calls them,
Yeah,
offends them. He's like, "Don't stab Trigger." Oh yeah, he's like, squirts the bloody vinegar in his eyes,
yeah,
smacks the other one. He's like, "Get down the
you
gin."
with some sauces or whatever it is. Yeah, accoutrements or whatever it is. But yeah, his character's so good in that, man. He's so memorable. And again, playing, when he gets to play like proper characters, he's so good.
Amazing.
That bit, when he says, when the guy's in the back of he's in the boot of the car, and he says,
Brings him a cup of tea.
yeah, no, but he says, and the PH is silent, so it's shut the fuck or whatever. It's like
Shut the fuck up.
shut the fuck up, yeah, because it's
Oh.
PH or something like that.
But,
yeah, 'cause
yeah,
he's
the
Mr. Fuck.
Chinese guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
No,
really,
that's like I think we can skip a bunch of films now. We don't have to go through every
yeah,
single
100%,
one.
100%.
There's only one that's of interest.
Well, that's what he says. He says, "Putting the gay back in Marvin Gaye." Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's it.
The four stew, whatever he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the two main films of 2022 he was in.
Oh yeah, man, the Batman, like that was a big game changer though, because that was the moment when everyone saw the amazing makeup that something Marino did for him. Mike Marino, I think, was the makeup artist.
Okay.
Marino.
And then he says, when people went, I saw the Batman, but I didn't know Colin Farrell was in it, and that was a big thing. That almost blew up the internet when people saw how he transformed as Oz.
Yeah,
And then
that was incredible. I had no idea it was him.
But then I also love the fact that off the back of that, when he's like, they put so much effort into this character that only had like 11 minutes of screen time in a almost 2.5 hour movie, or 2 hours 40 minutes. And he's like, is there any way we could do more with this character? And like, how about a TV series where you can actually win some accolades for being fucking amazing as the Penguin?
Well, that's it. The fact he was that good, they made a TV series from it.
Yeah,
that's so
unusual.
Not just a TV series, like
it's just
a TV series.
But the way they've built that world, like, I mean, I bought the Penguin the other day, and it's like I watched it again, and it's like it's even better when you rewatch it. I was like, at the time, I was like, this is amazing, and I watched it again. I was like, this is so fucking amazing. He's so good, man. The whole cast, everyone's in it.
I watched it the other day whilst eating a penguin.
The script is so good, so good. Then yeah, we could jump in, I guess, to the Banshees of Inisherin if you want.
Yeah, I mean that's bringing back obviously Brendan Gleeson acting with, and director Madonna. Also, it's got Pat Short in there, which is the guy from Father Ted.
Got to say dwarf now, I'm not sure.
No, Tom. The guy is Tom. Where it says where he's sitting on the guy in Father Ted, where he sits on the wall, and it's got a T-shirt saying "I shot JR."
Oh, the mental one, yeah.
Yeah, that's him. But I was just looking at the Oscars, because I knew there was Oscars going on for Banshees of Inisherin, and Colin Farrell was nominated for a leading role.
Best actor.
Lost to Brendan Fraser in The Whale. But that's not a bad. But also, Brendan Gleeson was nominated for actor in supporting role, and he lost to Ke Huy Quan in Everything Everywhere All at Once. So they did really well. Actress in a supporting role, Kerry Condon.
She was amazing.
She lost out to Jamie Lee Curtis in Everywhere Everyone All at Once. But they're in all the categories,
Yeah.
All the big ones. It was also Martin McDonagh was in a nominee for directing.
The best picture.
Yeah.
Best picture.
Lost out to Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. So they did brilliant. Also, film editing nominated as well. Like,
yeah,
amazing to get nominated.
When I watch the Banshees of Inisherin, like, for 2 hour film, it flies by. Like, it's got such great pace, and it's so funny. Like, every character's so entertaining. And again, Barry Keoghan's in it again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to say his name, Keoghan.
Sorry.
You say it like it's written. To be fair, you're right, because it's Keo, and you think it can't be said the way it's spelled, because that's weird.
Keoghan sounds like you're saying it wrong, but ironically, yeah.
Because because I said, what's his name? Whose name have I said wrong all my life? Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal is Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, we tell you that, dude.
But I thought it was Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard Barry Keoghan speaking on a podcast explaining to Louis Theroux how he pronounces his own name.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's in my brain. So
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you
but
for that.
again, like you said, Banshees of Inisherin, a comedy. Again, that's his best work.
Yeah.
If you think Colin Farrell, you don't think comedy actor. You think leading man, maybe gangster, something with guns.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's a comedian. He's
But also
like serious comedy
he's
as well.
He's like a chameleon. He's like a chameleon comedian, because when you give him a chance to really transform, he can get away from himself.
But I do like the fact that all these comedy roles, he's not being funny. He is deadpan. He's just a stupid person trying to be serious. That's the funniness. Do you know what I mean?
But then in the Penguin, he's not a stupid person. He's a very kind of dark, kind of manipulative person. But his comic timing is genius. Like,
he's a witty, intelligent person, and that.
Mate,
but
like one of the best lines in the first episode of the Penguin is when he's going. He's like, "You wait in the car. Look for your sense of humor. It's got to be in here somewhere."
yeah,
And it's like that bit made me really laugh, and it's like just the way that he delivers it.
but like with Banshees, I think it's such an obscure idea for a film, and I think explaining it to people is confusing, and could seem like the trailer for it. I really had to work myself up to watch this film because it sounds like the most boring film ever. It visually looks boring. It's just two men on an island in Ireland, wandering around, having a beer, walking around, and you think,
Well, it's not that though.
shit.
They don't get on. So
No, I
there's
know.
conflict at least.
But the trailer shows them sitting, having a beer together, and then an argument, and then they're just wandering around randomly. Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't he mention that he's going to do things to it? He's going to cut parts of himself off.
Yeah, not in the trailer though.
It does in the trailer. Yeah, it does.
Really?
It.
I don't know. I just remember the trailer being so boring that I only wanted to watch it because I love the characters.
Yeah.
But I think the film is 5-star.
Yeah,
it's flawless. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
But
no news. You got shite news. The woman. That was brilliant. When she opens the letter for her and she's like, "Why is this open?" She's like, "Must have been the heat outside." And it's pissing it down with rain and she's soaked. So well written.
But don't you think I've just thought this right now, is that this is obviously the same cast as in Bruges. Well, the two main guys in Bruges. And their characters are switched. Like Colin Farrell in Bruges doesn't give a fuck, and Brendan Gleeson's trying to make him do nice things and be his friend and look after Colin Farrell and make sure Colin Farrell's okay.
He's going through some stuff.
Almost takes his own life to protect Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
and in this film, it's Brendan Gleeson couldn't give a shit about Colin Farrell, and Colin Farrell's doing everything he can to be Brendan Gleeson's friend. It's like a switch.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But yeah, it's an amazing film. So I think we've discussed all these films, but again, for the people listening, we're trying to work out some structure, so we're not just talking aimlessly about every single film. But he's got some interesting, like we said, he's got an interesting trajectory, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's worth bringing him up because it shows the ups and downs. Whereas if you talk about just an actor who's got a flawless career, it's going to be boring saying, "This film's amazing. This film's amazing."
But also, interestingly, like when we were talking about basing TV series, I think when he's given a great script, which makes sense for any actor, really. Like I think a lot of actors do well with bad scripts, but he's so good with the right material. For example, like we're saying, Martin McDonagh films, he's just amazing in. But like you mix so you've got the Penguin on one side, and then you've got Sugar on the other. And for me, I mean, Sugar, there's moments of cringe because it's like this dialogue is terrible, or the acting doesn't seem right, and I'm like, this is not the kind of performance that Colin Farrell would normally pull off. But
I got bored with Sugar on Apple TV.
mate.
I gave up. I didn't watch it all.
Then it wasn't until I can see why he made certain choices. Can we reveal spoilers of Sugar?
No
Yeah.
one cares. So yeah.
Okay, no, okay, sure. But because you find out he's an alien, which again, it was just so.
Wait, Drew, stop a second. Stop.
What?
Colin Farrell just messaged me. Yeah, no one watched Sugar. Go ahead, spoil it. It's fine. Okay, we're good.
All right, cool. Yeah, okay, so yeah, he's an alien.
Are you talking about your arse?
I
What are you
kid-
about?
Mate, I kid you not. He is a private detective / alien.
I want to watch this. It sounds amazing.
And that's why his performance, where he doesn't seem quite like he doesn't know how to be a human, and it just comes across as really bad acting.
Like, meep, 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 meep,
No, but it's
meep,
really
meep,
bad
meep,
in places.
like
You're like,
Mork and Mindy.
and yeah, and that's why he's able to drink loads of alcohol. It doesn't affect him because he's an alien.
When was this filmed?
It
was out last year.
Dude. This is the same
I
year.
thought it was like 1995 or something. Like
No,
when
mate,
he
this
was
is
at
the
college.
same year as Penguin. But this
So
is
Sugar, he plays an alien that can drink loads of alcohol. That
he
sounds.
plays a character called John Sugar, who is a private detective.
Who's an alien?
Secretly an alien. Yeah.
And it's on what program? Sorry,
It's Apple.
this is why I don't have Apple TV. This
But
is what they do with their money.
yeah. But
$1 billion company, and this is what they do.
yeah, I know, right? I know. He's a private detective, but how about he comes from Jupiter?
Just
Really?
be a private detective with an issue or some sort of underlying situation.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Let's make him from space. Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm just no.
Yeah. But yeah, and then you look at the Penguin, right? And some of the episodes, I actually think
It sounds like an old Beatles About sketch. You know, Jeremy Beatles About.
yeah, or
It's
Scooby Doo, man. You know when they pull off the thing and go dun dun dun. It was
It's just the hotel manager trying to freak people out. Woo.
hotel manager if he was an alien. Yeah. But the Penguin, to jump back to that, it's got some of the highest IMDb scores for episodes ever in TV history. Like the final episode of the Penguin, I think, has got 9.7. 9.7.
Insane.
And
It
that's
was good.
collectively.
I don't think it's as good as how everyone says it is. I do think it was well above the average of goodness. It was really good.
It was so good. So fucking good.
I was trying to Google something interesting there, but it didn't give me the results I was looking for. I was trying to Google what movies Colin Farrell refused or didn't get, and it didn't tell me, but it did say that.
Just say I don't think it should get that score, Captain 4.5 out of 5 every time.
Yes. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that Colin Farrell turned down the role in the dark comedy In Bruges because he was concerned that his reputation, because back then he was bad boy, wasn't he, on drugs and shit. He was convinced that his reputation would hurt the movie. So he did it for a good reason. However, he later accepted the role and won a Golden Globe for his performance.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I thought it'd be really bad. Then I thought about the money they were offering me. It's like, yeah, I'll do it.
And then, yeah, but
he got Golden Globe for that.
Yeah, it's the suicidal hitman.
So this is an interesting thing, though. The War Zone, right? This is something I was telling Kevin really quickly. Is a film by Tim Roth. Like,
oh yeah, that old one.
Tim Roth, and it's quite a dark story with like incest and all kinds of horrendous things. But Colin Farrell again just has a few scenes in it, or maybe 2 scenes in it. But he's so charismatic on screen. This is the one thing you can't take away from Colin Farrell. He could be in any film and you can't take your eyes off him. He is like a Sean Connery in that sense, that he's got scenes with Denzel Washington. And obviously Denzel Washington is he's like a juggernaut. He's a giant of an actor, right? But when he's got those scenes with Colin Farrell, you're still looking at both. It's not like, boom, Denzel. He's so charismatic, Colin Farrell.
Oh, definitely. We should probably bring it to a conclusion. I've got a finishing comment for it.
Perfect.
But do you have anything you want to add or anything before we?
No, I think great actor, like insane actor.
Yeah.
Just wish he'd been given more.
100%. Yeah, he's just got he's just got so much versatility. And
Imagine him in a Bond film as a villain or something like that, or
I was going to say,
a
what would
Mission
you like to
Impossible,
see?
something like that.
What would you like to see him in next? What would you like to see Colin Farrell
I
in
hate
next?
it. I like to see him in gritty action.
Mm.
That's why I like to see him in or a gritty crime thing. Like
No,
Luther.
well,
You
the
know
point of this
Luther.
whole episode is just saying that he's amazing in comedy.
Comedy,
more than
yeah.
anything.
No. Well, yeah, okay, do that. But imagine a Irish style Luther. Yet he's Luther.
Yeah, like a damaged detective.
Yeah, like imagine Luther but Irish, and Colin Farrell is Luther. That would be amazing.
That could be quite cool because then you could add a bit more humor to it.
That would be quite cool, I think. But if you wanted to go down the humor route, I would say go down Bridesmaids, let him be the copper, who's the funny one, and go down that alley.
I think I think he could definitely do a comedy, not a broad comedy like that, but definitely like, well, even that wasn't a broad comedy role.
He could do a rom-com, definitely. Oh, I've got the best example ever. You know, This Means War with Reese Witherspoon's Tom Hardy and Chris Pine. Yeah, swap out Tom Hardy with
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, would have worked just as well.
Well, here's the 4 films he's got upcoming. You ready for this?
Go on.
This is something that no one knows yet. There's not much information on them yet.
Well, you know, so many people know. Imagine if you Google it.
Well, it's not it's public knowledge, but it's not something you need to hunt out. Nothing's been promoted yet. This is in writing stages. Nothing's confirmed yet.
First.
So yeah, heard it here first. A film called The Ballad of a Small Player, and it stars Colin Farrell and Tilda Swinton. The next film is called Belly of the Beast. This has got good hopes from our conversation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
It's a timely story of an unlikely friendship between a notorious literary titan, Norman Mailer, and his protege, Jack Henry Abbott. Ben Stiller is playing the literary titan, and Colin Farrell is playing his protege. So
Ben Stiller is not doing a serious film, is he?
Well, he does do serious films, but I've got a feeling this could be like heartwarming-y.
Oh wait, this could be another version of Misery.
That could be interesting. That's an interesting, yeah. If it's literary, yeah. Here's one of them. Here's the one you don't know. A film coming out. Well, they've said this year, but I've not heard anything about it. It's called A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, an imaginative tale of 2 strangers and the unbelievable journey that connects them, starring Colin Farrell with Margot Robbie, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and a load of other people.
Wait, why make it clear that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is there? That tells me it's going to be like a nicely movie.
Why?
She's not nicely.
She's an actor in it. She's not been part of the directing. She's not part of the writing.
Okay. I don't think any of them will be comedy.
She's not nicely. She's quite edgy.
Yeah, she can be.
I don't think any of them are going to be comedy though.
I didn't say comedy, did I?
Oh, we were talking about him doing comedy though, weren't we? And
no,
what he has
I'm talking about the new films he's in that he's about to be released.
Well, yeah, we were talking about saying he should do more comedy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this could be comedy.
Not gonna.
What's
Margot
the fourth one that we do know? Because I don't know.
Yeah, Margot Robbie could be comedy, and Phoebe
He could play
Waller-Bridge
Basil 40 in the 40 Towers movie.
Well, can anyone guess the 4th film that's coming out?
No.
Batman 2.
Yeah, fuck it, wasn't that difficult.
The Batman 2.
Oh yeah,
has he got more of a role in this one?
Not till 2027.
Oh, they keep moving that. They keep thinking they can, man.
Yeah, it'll be ages, and yeah, he'll have a bigger part, obviously.
See, this is my issue with the talk about Rob Pattinson. His body work is so far between; it's insane. Yes, he's going to do some other stuff in between, but not that much.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was our episode on Colin Farrell. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the deep dive. Also, here's an interesting shout out. If you want to suggest someone for us to talk about, feel free to drop us a message and give us any ideas. Otherwise, we'll think of our own. Just to remind you, it can be an actor, director, a year, a genre, soundtrack, composer, anything you like, a documentary, a UK film, anything you want us to do a deep dive on that's movie related. Thank you very much for listening. Can you hear my cat meowing?
We can hear your pussy.
She's been meowing underneath my desk for ages.
That's because she wants to blow.
So many euphemisms.
Right.
She's
Sod
after
on.
those Kev lips.
Lovely to see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time. Oh, wait! Before you go and enjoy the rest of your day, we would really appreciate if you had a spare 5 seconds, a follow and a 5-star rating. Also, don't forget to follow us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok, where we have updates, movie-related content, and funny clips from the show. Please tell all your friends. Thanks for hanging out with us till the very end. Have a great rest of your day.